Welcome to another themed week of Indie Attack. I am Woody,
And I am Kelson.
and this week we are doing Ludum Dare 31. Now, Ludum Dare 31 actually was in December. It was in early December, but judging for the competition pushes it into this year by like 1 or 2 days. So we're taking
Yeah.
a look at the games after they've all kind of been judged because we didn't want to go through 2,500 or so games and try to find the good ones. We just wanted to pick the best right at the end.
Exactly. Yeah, we're cherry picking and shamelessly so, and it's worked out pretty good for us so far in the Ludum Dare. So yeah.
Yeah, and most of the games we're doing here are they're kind of the top entries from the Ludum Dare,
And
and
this the theme for this Ludum Dare was basically just games that are all on one screen.
one screen.
And
Which
some
that's a
games
that,
got away with it a little bit, but
that's a pretty good theme, I
it
think,
is
for one of
yeah.
these things. Because that's one of those, it really kind of pushes creativity and difference in design. Some of the themes in the past are a little bit obvious in how they can be executed,
Yeah.
and
Like,
this is one that you can really
yeah.
see a lot of variation in.
And sometimes the themes can be so vague. It's nice. This one is like
Yeah.
it's kind of cool to see like actual sort of like physical limit, like structure and limitation, like
Yeah, because
from yeah.
it's one of those things where a lot of people designing this would probably never make a game that was a single screen because that's not really a limitation you ever need to impose on yourself. So it's cool
Right.
seeing that as kind of a design challenge
Right.
to the
Like
Ludum Dare.
if only our old pal Loco Melito had gotten word of this, he would have kicked some ass. I feel like. But yeah, other than that guy, not many people doing this type of limitation on themselves voluntarily. So yeah. So what is our
Anyway,
first? Yeah, what is our
we'll
first
launch into
game?
it. Our first game is 90-Second Portraits by Simon Larson. Now, it's a pretty self-explanatory title. You have 90 seconds to make a portrait.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
Exactly.
graded on the quality of that portrait, depending on like how accurately you get it to the thing you are portraying. I think it's kind of like, it's like paint reading, you paint your picture and it reads, oh, is this color accurate to whatever, and, kind of judges all of those.
Right, yeah, like it flashes up a random, usually kind of funny, like an alien or like a guy with a funny hat, and then yeah, it's like the controls you have. You basically, you have like brush. So basically, it's like MS Paint status. You have your brush kind of depth levels, and then a color palette, and you can blend colors. But I mean, it's because like 90 seconds is not a lot of time, so it's
Yes.
pretty it's pretty Fast and Furious gameplay.
Yes. And you have like a couple of different brushes and stuff you can use, and it's really, really frantic. And
Yeah.
it's frantic, and the goal is kind of to make money, and that's just really to sort of compare your score, I guess. You get graded on each one of them, and you make a little bit of money. You don't really do anything with the money, and you have a gallery where you can look at the completed paintings that you've done.
Yeah, I think that was a funny twist, especially, I mean, as the footage will show, my grotesque portraits that I drew, because I am not have a proclivity towards
Yes.
drawing of any kind.
Yeah, unfortunately, you being the person who records our game footage for this,
Right.
me being the artist of the duo,
Yes.
and even so, like, these don't need to be great. Like,
No,
I was getting
yeah.
mostly A's and B's, and I didn't even think mine were good.
Right. Yeah. And like honestly, a lot of it, I got bogged down. Like my first one, I was trying to like find the right color, and then my time was over pretty much, because it's kind of like you really kind of have to just by towards the end, I was starting to at least loosely approximate things. But yeah, I'm sure you're gonna chuckle when you actually have to look at this stuff that I did. But yeah, I mean, my overall takeaway from this game is just like, well, obviously it's like, we've played, this is Pictionary, I mean,
Yeah.
basically, and my takeaway is just like, I was sort of like dreading playing it just immediately when I was like, oh, and then, seeing what it was, anything portraits. And then honestly, it's like, games like this are fun for someone like me who is not an artist. I mean, I write, but it's like, the drawing I've always just sort of, it's always intimidated me, and just like sort of saying like, screw it, I'm just gonna go for it, like there is a real satisfying
And-
thing to that.
That's something I would note on this game in particular, because this isn't the kind of game I would normally play, and really the only reason I picked this is because it got so highly rated in this. Normally, this is the kind of game I'd probably avoid for doing on Indie Attack, but I just kind of picked it because hey, everybody loved it, and this is one of those things. This is such an infinitely expandable, like, fun social game. We were talking about this a little bit back here, and like how could expand on like to iOS so easy. And, you know, you could compare all the portraits you've done of the various people to, like, portraits your friends have done and stuff like that. You've got a touch screen, so you have a paintable device right there in your hand.
Totally. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of fun. Like, if you, like, you know, took a picture and then, like, and if you were, like, 4 friends at once drawing the same, you know, like, there's so many, like...
Yeah, take a picture, run it through a 6-color filter or something.
Exactly. Yeah,
boom.
Totally. You get a caricature of it, and then, yeah, I mean, this definitely, I don't know if there's a metric for Ludum Dare of just sort of like, man, I wish I had thought of it, you know, but...
yeah, this is one of those games
goodness.
I could easily see this making a lot of money if somebody put this on iOS and made a decent concept out of this that would expand well to that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's fairly rough around the edges still, but it could become...
Oh, yeah, if you put time into this, it could easily be
God.
something big.
Yeah, something totally...
So... like we said, this is a fun social game. It's not necessarily like a gameplay titan or anything like that.
No,
like,
it's
not something you go through to experience the story or anything like that. But hey, if you want to draw some goofy portraits in 90 seconds, it's probably the best game you can find.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, it's not going to blow your mind. It's like, again, it's like you've done similar things to this in your life, most likely, if you've played board games and stuff. But nonetheless, yeah, it's fun, and it's definitely one of those great concepts. And I can see why people were into it. So yeah, I would say it's worth checking out.